Welcome to the Beat Reporter's Inbox on MLB.com, presented by Edward Jones. I'm Joe Frisaro, MLB.com Marlins reporter. I'm here with Matt, who's going to be asking me questions. Matt, what do we got first?
Well, our first one comes off of Twitter. It's from Matt, actually. This is the first time our All-Star game has been in Miami. How do you think the city and the fan base has responded?
Well, Miami's known as an event town, so, the stars tend to come here. You kind of see celebrities show up. We have Pitbull and the Home Run Derby. It's a typical time for Miami to shine. And, everyone sees South Beach. They see all the color, all the palm trees and all the things that come with being in South Florida. This is kind of what we down here like and kind of get motivated by to get that big event here. All-Star game fits right in.
The next one comes from Jessica. It was a bit of a buzzkill to see Stanton fall in the first round last night. Bohr too, but he put on a show. Did you actually expect to see him nearly knock off Judge?
Bohr, well, I'm going to go Bohr first there, Jessica. I thought Bohr was a sleeper that could win the whole thing, and I thought he could give Aaron Judge a real run for his money, and he did. And my reasoning is Marlins Park right field favors the left-handed hitters here. And for right-handed hitters like Judge and Stanton and the others, center field is so far out, left field is farther, the gaps are farther, and Bohr being a home run pull hitter, he had to hit him about 380, 400 feet. Judge had to hit him about 420 or more the other way. So I thought Bohr had a really good chance to get in the groove. What a really good show. Jessica, I wouldn't get too upset. Stanton really put on a show. To me, it's just about a showcase of the home run derby. It's to show the talents of these players. Stanton last year was remarkable out in San Diego. He had 61, set a record. And, he got off to the slow start this year, but he really hit some. He had 16 homers, a really good round there with Gary Sanchez of the Yankees, and he put on a show. He had some of the farthest and hardest balls in that event. I thought Bohr and Stanton, from a Marlins standpoint, did very well.
All right, Joe, we're talking Marlins now. Giancarlo batting second has worked out, right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the season kind of turned for the offense. We were talking, it was late May. The decision was made by Don Mattingly to move Stanton up from the cleanup spot to the second spot, right behind D. Gordon. Now, obviously, D. Gordon, you got one of the fastest guys in the league, a guy with, not much power, a guy that gets on base, makes things happen. Then you bring the beast right behind him. Why I always liked the move of Stanton hitting second was Stanton over the last few years has missed so much time due to injury. So he really kind of needed those extra at-bats. And I think when you get Stanton more engaged in the game, and when he's up second, he just seems to be coming up a little bit more. That the pitcher gets up, and then the top of the order turns, and then all of a sudden it's time for Stanton. And that's got to be a real headache for opposing pitchers. Plus, the fact that Yelich is behind him, and then followed by, Zuna, then Bohr. You got a really good left-right type combination going there. A lot of power, and Stanton is kind of really taken off since moving that number 2 spot.
And it seems like Joe Madden took notice. Stanton's batting second for the National League All-Star team tonight. This one comes from Richard. If the Marlins had a good pitching staff, could you see them as contenders with everything else they have in place?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the question mark coming in. Was this rotation going to have enough? I mean, obviously this franchise absorbed a tremendous loss, and as all of baseball, in the loss of Jose Fernandez. They did not have time to really recover from that. You don't really recover from that. So they decided that, the best thing to do if they're going to keep this core together, which they did the first half, was to go and get as many durable starting pitchers as they could in hopes of logging enough innings. Now, what hurt was right off the bat, Wei Chen, who almost threw a no-hitter out in Seattle. He developed an arm injury in early April. His timeline for return is still unclear. It could be months away, if at all, this year. That was a guy you're counting on. Tom Kohler got off to a slow start, ended up getting sent down to AAA, as did Adam Connelly. Those are 3 out of your 5 in rotation you're really banking on this to get this season, going forward from a starting rotation standpoint. So it's really difficult for them to do it, and I don't know really where the answer is going to come. It's going to be really hard to make a trade for a starter, but we'll see how it unfolds.
Well, Gary has a suggestion. He wants to know, are their current relief pieces, A.J. Ramos and David Phelps, enough to net a solid starting pitcher?
Well, I think both those guys are going to be, you're going to see, starting right after the All-Star break, their names are going to be hot and heavy on the trade rumor circuit. And, those are two valuable guys. Those are two guys who are, very good relief pitchers who have drawn a lot of interest. The Marlins did their part, kind of chipping back into it. They swept the Giants to, make things a little interesting going into the break. But they got the Dodgers coming off of the break. They better start, winning some. But if not, I think by the end of the month, Ramos, Phelps could be on the move. Could they develop, come for a starting pitcher that would help right now? I'm not so sure that'll be the direction. But one of those two or both could probably net you a starting pitcher. It just might be a prospect.
A couple questions about the kids. Andres wants to know if Dylan Peters could get called up after rehab, and Nicole noticed that Brian Anderson looked at the Futures game. How long before he makes the show?
Yeah, we'll start with Dylan Peters. There's a real unfortunate situation. Dylan Peters, left-handed pitcher at the University of Texas a couple of years ago. Really, really good in spring training. Really showed a lot starting off the season at Double-A Jacksonville. But unfortunately for Dylan, about his fourth or so start, comeback line drive, hit his thumb, broke the thumb on his pitching ham. He's a lefty. He just started now. Good news, there was questions whether or not he had surgery on that finger. Apparently, it was multiple fractures, so it's going to take a while. But right now, he's up in Jupiter at their extended spring. He's probably going to get in the Gulf Coast League games at some point. And from there, I think he may make his way back to Double-A. Question is, can he come back and be a September call-up? Possibly, if they're in it. That would be an interesting guy from in-house. But I think, it depends how the season's going. You don't want to, in any way, shape, or form, set Dylan Peters back because he is a big part of where this organization wants to go in the future.
I want to revisit something from a second ago. How do you think the city of Miami has reacted to this All-Star game, both in stadium and out on the streets?
There seems to be good buzz. I mean, outside in the streets there, Marlins Park, there's not a ton of places for people to go, here, but, they have to kind of get in their car and go to South Beach or other parts of the area. I think it's reacted fine. I mean, it's a major event. There's a lot of focus on this city right now. And, so far, the first couple of days, Futures game, Celebrity Softball game on Sunday, big hits, it seemed like. Home Run Derby was a huge hit. And, the Dome came through last night on the Home Run Derby because it rained. And, had that not been, if this had been the old ballpark, that we would have been looking at a rainout.
Joe, I'm going to ask you one from Andrew. Between Stanton and Ozuna and Bohr, who's going to finish with the most home runs on this team?
It's hard for me to bet against Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, the guy seems to, being locked in. He's right now at the break, 26 home runs. He caught up with Joey Votto. He's tied for the National League lead. And, Bohr, really, really good half, obviously. If he gets to 30, 35, huge. Marcell Ozuna's, I've covered this team since 2002, probably the most improved player I've ever covered on the Marlins in terms of a short window. He has not only been an all-star, and he'll start in the all-star game voted by the fans, this guy is a fringe MVP candidate. Now, Ozuna can hit a lot of homers, but when it comes to purely hitting the ball over the wall, I'm still going with Giancarlo Stanton.
This question comes from Chris on Facebook. Do you think Connelly will be back this upcoming series?
Tommy who?
Conley.
Oh, Connelly. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Adam Connelly, no. Adam Connelly has been, he's in AAA right now. He's had his rough patches. He had a slow spring training, got off to a really rough start. And, they sent him down to AAA to try to get it going. Velocity seems a little bit down. The command hasn't been great. And until he gets that, Adam showed a ton of promise last year. It's a little bit of a mystery what happened. He had a finger injury late in the year. He never really got it rolling. And, it would be great if he, kicked it in gear and got back up here. But as of right now, there does not seem any indications that Adam Connelly is on his way back.
Joe would like to know if there are any updates or what is the latest on the Marlins' potential sale.
Well, every day there seems to be another story. The target date for more than a year was, All-Star break could be the time this year that, we hear some serious talk about Jeffrey Loria selling this team. And things have heated up. There have been some stories that have been out there. And it's certainly possible that by the end of the month we could have a sale. I know the commissioner has noted it. The team president, David Sampson, has made note. From what I've heard, nothing is official, nothing's done. There seems to still be multiple teams involved, multiple groups involved to potentially buy this team. But it's a major acquisition, a major sale, and these things tend to take time. And, there was a buzz about 2 weeks ago that right about now it could be done. I don't sense it's that imminent, but I also heard that if everything comes together from these groups and the package is secure, it could close fairly fast. So stay tuned on that. I anticipate the team will be sold. The question is, will it be, in a couple of days, by the end of the month, or after the season?
Al on Facebook wants to know if there's any planned tribute to Jose Fernandez tonight.
All I've heard was something pregame. There will do something. I don't know to what extent. Probably just an acknowledgement. It's obviously a tremendous tragedy. I've covered sports a long time. It's by far the roughest thing I've ever had to cover. Jose, last year at this time, we were in San Diego for the All-Star game, and he was one of the stars. Jose had that showdown with Big Papi and, just kind of stole the show. And, I think that somewhere, the number 16 is displayed all over Marlins Park. And, I think there'll be some sort of a tribute. But from what I understand, it's something pregame. I just don't know exactly what it's going to be.
Kev on Facebook specifically calls out Christian and Ozuna, but do you think the Marlins will trade any bat this year?
Any bat? I think the core players right now are the controllable core. That's what I've been told recently, or as of yesterday. They're not looking, as of now, Ozuna, Yelich, Stanton, JT Realmuto, those are Dan Straley. These are very key core players on the Marlins who are controllable beyond this year. But other guys could be up for grabs. That doesn't mean D. Gordon automatically will be traded or Martin Prado. But if something makes sense, I think you could see that. But I think the most likely trade guys, as you noted earlier, were A.J. Ramos, David Phelps. They're going to command a lot of interest.
Alex wants to know what's going on with Wei-Yin Chen.
Yeah, Wei-Yin Chen. I mean, we're hoping that there'd be some sort of progress there. He had Tommy John surgery a number of years ago. He is dealing with a partial tear in the ligament in his elbow. So, that thing is still there, and the discomfort's there. He's currently on a throwing program being built back up. But, again, I'm not anticipating him anytime soon. And, it's really one of those unfortunate things, how quickly he can get back and get healthy. And right now it doesn't seem to be, August would be at least the minimal, and we'll see if that's even realistic.
All right, this is your last question from Dan. Who do you think could win the All-Star Game MVP tonight?
Oh, really, really good question, Dan, and I have to give that some thought. Let me go with Bryce Harper, only because his name popped first and foremost into my mind. Bryce Harper is obviously one of these superstars of this sport, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does something magical in the first couple of innings and takes home the prize. Oh, thanks for watching the Beat Reporter's Inbox on MLB.com, presented by Edward Jones. Tune in again next time. Thank you.